Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another best of 30 days of sketches. Today's sketch is a double pager and it is brought to us by Allison Davis. And I'm really liking this sketch. I did this one last time and I did like fire station photos, which I thought were really fun. Today I am doing what kind of photos am I using today? I am using some photos of Noah and his mom and dad and his auntie at the butterfly exhibit at the Santa Barbara Zoo. It's called Butterflies Alive. And so I pulled out some sun chaser paper from Heidi Swap. I thought that would work really well. I am gutting this piece. I'm using it just as the background or the border for the left-hand page. And now I'm just measuring how wide I need my paper to be to leave enough room to glue it down onto that turquoise paper. So I'm going to use this white paper as a border around my pattern paper that is going to be the top layer. And this white paper will be sandwiched in between that top paper and the green layer, just so it has a nice crisp white border. And I really like the way that that looks. I am really in love with this paper from Heidi Swap. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I've already used it on one layout a few days back, and I had just like a single photo and some lace on it. And I just think it's so pretty. It's so soft and gorgeous, but the lines that are in it, when I turn the paper here, the lines almost make like a letter C. It kind of just reminds me of like a butterfly path or something like that. And so I thought I would go ahead and use it. It matches really well with all of the colors that are in these photos. My daughter's wearing kind of like a yellowish gold jumper. And then Noah's got his blue overalls on with a shirt that has orange and blue in it. And so I just thought it matched really well. And that's why I decided to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the entire thing on the white paper like I mentioned. I am leaving the white paper whole. I could have gutted that as well, but I have a lot of white paper and I felt like it would serve better as support than in my scrap bin. Basically, my scrap bin of white and black is robust. we will say. I need to start using some of the scraps out of it. But usually the pieces that I want are much larger than what I have in the scrap bin, so they don't get used as often. I have this leftover piece of the pinky color paper from the layout I did, I believe, yesterday for the salsa layout. And so I thought I would use that to be the placeholder for the fourth photo. In the sketch, you can see there's what would be 4 photos across, but one of them is removed, and then it has 2 smaller ones down below. And so I thought I would just go ahead and use it as the placeholder photo. Hopefully that makes sense. And I don't know why it's taking me so long to get it trimmed down, but I'm not really working with my favorite trimmer. I am at my friend's house, and I just grabbed my Kaisercraft trimmer versus taking my crocodile with me. So, my Caterpillar, not a crocodile. That makes holes. I have my Caterpillar. Okay, and so I thought about using the piece that I had just held up there, but I'm going to go ahead and use the striped washi tape from 49 and Market. And I'm really enjoying using the washi tape right now because I sometimes forget about the washi tape and then I just don't use it and it just sits in my stash. And so I'm really happy to be using it, especially since it works so well with the sun chaser papers. And I know I mentioned that in a previous video, but if you look at this, it just works so well. This black piece of paper, it already had that ripped, torn edge on it, so I just decided to go ahead and use it and embrace it. I didn't try to make it straight or anything else. I'm just going to use it and go with it. And I don't mind that there's a little bit of black on the page because Noah's daddy's wearing black, and I think it just kind of adds to the layout. I decided not to add any other pieces of black on this particular page though. until I add the title. The title will be in black. So that's also going to help that black coordinate. And then there will be a fair amount of black on the right-hand page because that right-hand most grid area, I am using a paper that is already cut in black. It was in my stash, probably from the last time I made this or used this sketch. And I think when I did it, I cut it into like a grid of squares. And I didn't want it as squares. I wanted them as rectangles. So I recut it as rectangles. So I still had the square grid in my stash, and that's what I'm using today. So there are the embellishments that I made a few days ago with the frames, and I'm really liking the way that they turned out, and they're going to work perfectly on this layout. And some of these I looked at the sketches ahead of time and thought, how can I use these embellishments? And so some of them I kind of knew where they were going to be placed, but and so I made them kind of coordinate. So then I decided I'm going to back all of these photos that are going in the column on the right hand page in black. Originally I wasn't 100% sure. I thought I might do it in that turquoise color, but it kind of made it compete with the photos, and so I decided black was the best option. And if you look at the sketch, there is no photo in the center. It's like a 4x6 card with a journaling spot on it, but I had more photos, and so I decided to forego that journaling spot and just use the photos instead. There will be plenty of space for journaling underneath the photos on the left-hand page. And then, you know, I don't know that there's a whole lot to say about it other than that they were at this habitat. This is in a series of photos when they went to the Santa Barbara Zoo. And so there's already a lot of area for them to journal because I have other pages. So I'm not sure that there's like a whole lot left to be said. And in all honesty, I was not at that event, so I don't really have anything to say about it. It'll be on my daughter to go ahead and do that journaling. So now I'm trying to figure out if I need the full sheet of this particular paper or if I want a partial sheet. I know I want to bring some of that darker turquoise paper over to the right hand page because right now it doesn't have any and it doesn't look really cohesive. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I am marking where I'm going to cut my photos, and to do that I stick it underneath the grid so I know if I want 4 or 6 squares or 8 squares or however many squares you want. I stick it underneath the grid and I use a dry erase marker right on top of the photo and draw my lines, and then I cut just slightly larger, and that works really well. Unfortunately, it's not a really great way to mark your papers for cut files, because 9 times out of 10 your cut file is in white paper. However, if you have a cut file in black paper, this would work very well also for cutting photos to go behind it, because the dry erase just wipes right off of it. It will not wipe right off of pattern paper, so it wouldn't be a good option for that either. And also, not all photo processing is friendly with a dry erase marker. Like I print at home on my Selfie and it works fine. And if you do true photo processing, it works okay. But if they are printed on like a printer like a PictureMate 400 or a lot of the services that just print in-house, it doesn't work as well with. So test it on your photo before you just start making some black lines with a dry erase marker to make sure that it is going to work. So here's where I decided to go ahead and add some photos to these other 2 little frames. I have got these additional frames from Pink Fresh Studio, and so I'm just filling them up with more photos. And I'm going to have the duck photo inside of this one that I made the other day, and I ended up pulling out the little white piece of paper that I had just tacked in there and adding the duck photo instead. And when I mark the photo and you see me handle it after. I know it's sped up a bit, but I'm just wiping it off. I'm wiping the black dry erase marker off the photo, in case you were wondering what I was doing, manhandling my photos. So there's the duck. I've got some flamingos in one and a parrot in another one. And then in case you're wondering what Noah's looking at, he's looking at some butterflies that are on the rock there and one on a plant. And then the upper right hand most photo, there's one on his dad's shoulder. So here's where I decide I'm going to add in more of that turquoise paper. I'm just trying to decide if I want it to have a border down the right hand side, because I really liked the black paper, the black grid right up against a black border. So I ended up basically triple matting these photos. So they're on this turquoise as well as the black. And then they're going to go on another piece of black so that there is a black border on the right hand side. And that makes me feel like the grid is part of the layout and not just tucked under. It looks like it is actually a piece of, like it's attached to that right hand most black piece of the photo mats. So now I'm using my white pen to mark which of the grid pieces that I want to remove so that the photos can go underneath the grid. And I just used the white pen because it'll show up on the black, obviously, and just marked the intersection. So it was pretty easy. I could have left or I could have moved everything over a little bit so I didn't like waste as much of the grid underneath the photos. But you know what? It's not a big deal because it's just paper. If I really wanted to hoard it, then I probably could have done that, because there were probably, I don't know, maybe two rows additionally underneath the paper there, hidden. And so that's something to be mindful of if you're someone who doesn't cut files very often and you want to save the pieces that you have that are left over. But my machine is always ready to go. It's out and easily accessible. It's not something I have to dig out, and then it's not like a big to-do to cut it, is what I'm trying to tell you. But I do realize that's not the case for everyone. So I just used my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere those photos behind the grid, because I wanted those black pieces of the grid to kind of frame them and make it look like they were kind of settled in. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid glue also to just hold everything in place. Oh, look, you guys, I did save a piece of it, but but I would have had a much larger piece if I would have had it all hanging off the edge. So now I'm going to have 2 strips that are 2 squares wide left over, rather than 1 strip that is 4 squares wide. At any rate, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of funny that I did save any of it, because I have so many cut files that I need to use up that are pre-cut, ready to go. So I'm just using my ATG gun to adhere everything down, and just wanted to let you know that the playlist for everyone who's playing along is down below for all of the videos that are available currently. I think there's more than 400 videos down there, you guys. It is insane how many people who are playing along and have been added to the playlist. So go and check that out. And you'll have tons of inspiration from all of these sketches, you guys. It's a lot. It's a really cool thing, though, because, you know, where can you get that much inspiration in one shot? I have this piece of paper that I've had in my stash for quite some time. It's from Alexandra Renke, I believe, and it's got these beautiful flutterbies. Oh my goodness, butterflies flying across the page. And it's been in my stash for several years, and I really wanted to use it as is, but because I've had it for so long, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the butterflies out and put them on this page. The goldish color of them, the yellowy gold, matches my daughter's outfit, matches the background papers, and so it was like the perfect it was basically the perfect storm, and so I went ahead and decided to go ahead and use them. And I am really happy to have that paper out of my stash now, and actually into, or a portion of it into the album. So I'm liking the way that that looks. I did not make you sit through watching me fussy cut every single one of those butterflies, but it was a fairly simple process, and I just did it while I was sitting and chatting with my friend Janie. So I am using some foam tape up behind the wings, and then the body is actually glued down to the paper, so it looks like their wings are floating a bit in the air, and it gives a little bit of a movement kind of a feel and gives some dimension to the layout. So I really like the way that that looks. It's something that I do all the time if I have butterflies on my layout, just to give some added support under their wings so they don't get kind of squashed in the actual page protector. I do have some ephemera there that I had pulled out from one of the new Bow Bunny collections. I don't quite remember the name of it, but I just used one little tab that had a butterfly on it, and I put it to the side of that frame that has the duck in it. And then I used the Tim Holtz dies that are from Hobby Lobby to create the word alive. And then I believe the butterflies is out of the dies from, I want to say those are Paper Rose dies. I'll put links down below for the ones that I know about for sure, so that you can find them if that's of interest to you. And I thought it was a perfect to go ahead and do them in the black, because there is not a lot of black on this side of the page, but it just kind of draws everything together. And this is the perfect place for the title. I know on this sketch the title is down below those two frames, but I don't want to cover up the banners, and I didn't want to cover up the butterflies that are that I had just put down there. So this was the perfect landing place for it. And you know, there wasn't anything else going on this piece of paper. It's a pretty simple piece of paper, no design or anything, so I just thought it looked really nice and kind of brought everything together. None of my letters are popped up on the foam. I decided not to give them any added dimension, because there's already enough dimension going on this page. I had this little sticker from Heidi Swap that had the rainbow on it, and stuck it in that last little frame. That is the layout for today, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you enjoy this layout. If you have questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I really appreciate your time, and that you chose to spend it with me today, you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.